All right, thank you guys. We're going to begin the special part of the presentation today. These are senior project visual arts presentations, and today we are going to start with Miss Molly Ellis. And if you look up here behind her, you'll be able to see some of her photographs here. And so enjoy the information and enjoy some insight into her work that she's been doing.
I'm Molly, and my senior project was largely on photography. Now what I wanted to do with my project is be able to capture very minute details like dew and color. So I put together a slideshow that just shows some of my favorite photos. It was so difficult choosing a few because in photography you take tons and tons of photos because it's very hard to get a few good photos. So I probably came out with over 2,000 photos. So getting that number significantly down was very difficult. So I chose just a few that I really like and that kind of show what I was trying to do with it. So pieces like this, I was working with depth and the color. Now, the photography isn't just taking the photo, you have to change a lot of the different settings in order to be able to capture the image correctly. So I have a lot of photos of flowers because I particularly like flowers. They have a delicacy to them, but they also are so bold with color. And when it rains, like it did this week, as you guys probably know, it rained a lot, which made photography a little bit more difficult because you don't want the camera to get wet, you don't really want to get wet, so it made it a little bit more difficult. But overall, I think it came out pretty well. I came out with photos like that of the ferns, where you're able to see the bright color and the dew. I've always been fascinated with just kind of the very small details in bamboo or the flowers. And the rain was able to give that to me because I was able to capture images like this. So what I did for images like this is I made the lens open and close very fast, which was able to stop rain mid-motion. And it's photos like this of the ripples and the rain falling that are the lens opening and closing really fast. And I really love small details like this because it's so neat. It's just nature, and it's something that the raw eye usually can't see. We can see it, but only for a second. I was able to stop that, and we're able to enjoy it for a longer amount of time. So I really love photos with the dew and the flower because that captures not just the very small details of the water droplets, but it also captures the bright light of the flowers. And this flower here was personally probably my favorite flower that I took a photo of. It kind of defies gravity, so it only has that one stem there and it holds up. So the water droplets kind of hung off of it very differently, and the color was so vibrant. Now, photos like this one over here, where the water is kind of flowing a lot slower, required a different technique. It required the lens staying open a really long time in order to get the water to flow down. So you have to know when to have the camera open longer versus the camera open shorter. And I also love the things that are attracted to the flowers, like the dragonflies or the bees. And they have so many different details on them, like the flowers, so it's very fun when you're able to capture them both. Like this photo of the bee and the flowers here. Now the bee looks very gnarly, which was very interesting, but it was still alive, which I wasn't sure of at first. But it's just how it looks, and it was moving around, and it was really fun to be able to capture the very dark living bug with the very bright flower. And the photos over here of like the leaves and the flower with the water moving was also very difficult because I just had to keep taking the photo and hope that I got it. Photography isn't just like wanting it to happen. You have to have a lot of chance, good luck, and hope that it all turns out well. And photos like this one is very difficult to get because I had to get in this spider's web. I don't know about most of you, I'm not a huge fan of insects, especially particularly close to me, But I was very committed to get this shot, and it turned out well because you can actually really enjoy the colors of that spider. But I was very committed to this shot. I had to get in bamboo and partially into the spider web in order to be able to get this. And then, so I spent most of my time at the botanical gardens and then downtown. So I have one shot from downtown over here and one shot from the botanical gardens over there. I was able to mix a little bit of just pure nature along with what we find as a social space and community. And then I have more photos of the slow flowing water versus a very fast, like stop on a dime type photo. Downtown, I also try to work with textures because texture is a very minute detail. So I have this is actually the column of the hippodrome that I took. And this is outside downtown as well, near one of the food places. The very basic like plant that arced over. This shot here is honestly probably my favorite. I wasn't sure when I was taking it, but I like it because you have the dark color, but you can also see the light. I really liked playing with the darkness versus the light because if you have the camera focus on something close, but it's too bright behind, it's gonna make it dark. So you have to find that fine line between focusing too close and too far. And this is again working with the dew and the very like fine up close photos. So, and then I have more of that spider and the leaf that just kind of flowed with water and the magnolias. And this little flower here, it was very hard to see. There was only one of them, and I've only seen one of them. But it's a little bit difficult to tell in this photo, but it has more of a gradient. It's hard because the bud is so closed. But it has the orange and the pink, and it has like this kind of peachy color. It was really pretty to be able to see. And that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed the photos that I took.
Well, hello everyone here.
Talk loudly like this. Can everyone hear me? No. No. Yeah, there's a mic. All right, cool.
I thought it wasn't. I guess not. Okay. So, hello everyone. My name is Trey Saunders, and this is my art. Most of you probably saw it in the hallway as you were walking to the art gallery. And basically, with most of my art, it's pretty simple. Me personally, as a photographer, I am really into taking pictures of the environment and nature and stuff like that. It's kind of a personal reason. Because I'm somewhat of a religious man, and I really appreciate God and everything that He gives to us. And nature and the environment around us is kind of, in most points, are the only things that are out there that are kind of untouched by man and really set out there by God Himself, and He meant most of this stuff to look just like this. And so that's really my goal when taking pictures. I like to, go out there, see what I see, and capture it in a certain way. And if you look at most of these pictures, I'm really interested in the light and how it looks in the camera, how it shines onto different things. So one of my strategies when engaging in this project was going out to take pictures early in the morning, because as the sun is rising, it's hitting all these trees, all these branches, all these interesting things right at a certain angle. That's really perfect, and you can really get a certain shot. Like let's look at picture 2. If this picture was taken probably 10 minutes later than it was, you wouldn't catch certain effects like that lens flare, that circle right inside the moss, or those circles right under the spider webs and the branches. So getting up early in the morning was actually really important for these. During this project, I kind of had to finish some bad habits and getting out of bed early, because I know a lot of us don't like getting up super early. So when you're done with classes, all you have is a senior project, and you hear your alarm at 5:50 in the morning, it gets a little rough sometimes, Those blankets feel good, that pillow's just perfect, you just want to stay in bed. But then you realize there's stuff like this, sitting out here, sitting in the nature right next to us. Because all these pictures are, if you don't know, we're taken in town. All these spots are nature parks or conservation areas in Gainesville. So that's kind of my mission with all this and any photography that I do. Because I know, especially this generation, you just want your kids, to go out and play, do something outside, put that Xbox down, stop playing Fortnite. Like that's what we want from our kids. So my mission in photography is to show the world around us and show what things we're missing out on. Because I've actually had some friends, oh, I hate Gainesville, there's nothing to do around here. When actually, in reality, I did this when, doing research for the project. We actually have about 50 to 60 nature parks just in town, like just in the Gainesville area. So there's actually plenty to do, there's plenty to see, and that's my goal with photography, is to show the world around us and capture it in all its beauty and in its moment. And that's about it. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the pictures.